Welcome to the show. It's deep with the twist. We're laughing through the scriptures where humor coexists. Cultural, come on and take a seat. It's faithful and it's fun wherever it meets feet. Dive into the stories, hear the podcast call. It's Mormon stuff with a smile in the Cultural Hall.
It is time for another episode of the Cultural Hall. Still catching up on news, because I'm busy. I'm joined by Molly the Ash Ashton. It is an Articles of News episode. Thank you for being here, Molly.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be back.
You are excited to be here because, she was gone. She would like everyone to know that in her privileged life, she was able to go to Hawaii. I don't know why we continue this bit because people are divided. One, thinking that I'm teasing, or two, thinking that, oh man, geez, what are they, just trying to show off how cool they are? You were recently in Hawaii. How was that?
It was amazing. It was a belated anniversary trip for me and my husband, 24 years.
Okay.
In fact, it was 24 and a half years exactly, 6 months belated. We went to Kauai and it was incredible. It was awesome.
No kids?
No kids. Nope. I was sick the first 3 days, but there's worse places to be sick. So that's not horrible, I guess. But
Yeah.
It was super fun. We had a great time.
Now, so let me ask you this about that. Is the husband going to try and say, listen, it was 24 and a half, so it's basically our 25th as well, or how do you top, if that is your 24th and a half or 24th, how do you top that for a 25th?
He's sitting here in the background giving me the thumbs up. So yeah, apparently he's counting it for the 25th too. I don't know.
Yeah, any wise gentleman would have, because then he can say something like, babe, what more do you want? Wasn't that good enough? Don't
True.
I provide? Isn't that great?
So true. Yeah. I did almost kill him on it. We went on a super hard hike and I was having to do like proof of life. I would turn around occasionally to see if he was rounding the corner behind me because it was pretty brutal, but
Yeah.
I think he forgave me.
Now, which of the brutal hikes did you do on Kauai? I've got to know about that.
So, to be honest, I don't remember the exact name of it, but it's along the Nepali coast.
Sure.
I don't remember the name, but most people will do like a 4-mile hike that is hard but doable. We did the extended 9-mile hike, which is even harder and not as doable. And I'm a huge hiker. I love to hike. So does he, truthfully. We both love to hike, but we just weren't as prepared as we should have been with as much water as we needed.
Yeah.
And I was like realizing halfway through I needed to conserve my water to give to him. So I was like, here, honey, like I barely drank any because I just didn't want him to die. That would have been a really hard trip.
Yeah, sweetheart, I may die, but I want you to not die. That is how you make it 24 and a half years. The Kaanapali coastline, I would imagine. So you get to that beach where it's like, for the love of everything holy, don't swim here. There are so many people that have died here. Don't get in. I know you want to. That's the hike you did?
Yes, it was so tempting to get in, but we didn't because they're like the most people ever die anywhere is on this beach. So you've been there?
Yeah. So then did you go up and into the waterfall as the extension? Or did you go, because you can go all the way to the end, camp overnight, and then come back, or make it actually a several-day excursion?
Yeah, we did to the waterfall and back. We didn't have time to do the extended or camping or anything. So we did the waterfall. Have you done the waterfall?
I have, in fact.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And you know what I did? Swam in the ocean, and I'm here to live to tell about it.
Survived.
No, I didn't. I do not have such luck. I would even get close to it, and I would die just because of how that kind of luck is. But yeah, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. Anyway, and meanwhile, you were hobnobbing with the governor, I saw, while I was in Kauai.
Well, thank you for caring. Yeah, I'm unofficially the DJ for the state of Utah. He can't actually say that, but I am. And it was funny, actually. So every year, the governor, if you've ever been, and I think they have this in every state, they have the mansion where the governor lives, or like the governor's house, right? It's a thing. It's a perk of the job. I think every state does this. It's one of these gorgeous mansions at the foot of the avenues in downtown Salt Lake. Huge, sprawling, multi-million-dollar thing. About 25 years ago, it burned on the inside during Christmas.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, all renovated, restored, beautiful woodwork, all these things. But they open it up and they do this thing where if I were a politician, I would never do it, but they stand with a gorgeous backdrop, and for 2 or 3 hours a night for 3 or 4 nights, you just have people that come. And the depth of your conversation is, Molly, great to see you. How are things? Turn and face the camera. Great to see you. Talk to you soon is about the depth of the conversation is.
Really?
Yeah. So I got an invitation for it, and this is a long story, but it has to set this up. So the only mail that I get at my brother's house, where I lived for like 2 seconds, is this invitation to the governor's like open house at Christmas. And for like 7 or 8 years, my brother has been horrible about getting me the mail before Christmas. So I always get this invitation to the governor's open house in like March. And and I go, I would have liked to go to that. And he said, listen, I thought maybe you'd come by. No, I didn't. There it is there. So I get it this year. And I'm like, is this year's or is this last year's? Because the date says you're invited to this thing December 4th, 2023.
Okay.
So I have the governor's cell phone number because, I'm the DJ
You're
unofficially
the DJ.
of Utah.
Yeah,
and I
perfect.
texted him and I said, is this thing tonight? And he said, yeah, someone's getting fired.
Oh, no.
It was the wrong date because it was the Wednesday, December 4th, 2023. Wednesday the 4th wouldn't have been Wednesday the 4th last year. So we went back and forth, and he said, no, come, would love to see you. Someone's getting fired.
That's hilarious. I'm so glad you made it.
Well, and I was the only one that caught it, the only one that brought it up to them. So, I mean...
Hey, you're a good editor, good proofreader. That's
attention to detail. Now, married the 24 and a half years, and Kauai, you'd been there before, something you always wanted to do?
No, we've been to the other islands in Hawaii, but never to Kauai. And I've always been interested because I know it's all outdoorsy and there's hikes and adventure, and that's like my favorite thing to do. So
cool.
We
delicious food too.
Oh yeah, the food, the shrimp, the seafood, the fish. I mean, I tend to get sick eating shrimp and scallops, and I did that again. I just ate it till I couldn't anymore. It's so good.
I mean, that's our body telling us not to do things, but okay.
I know.
Just push through. When in Kauai, as they say.
That's right.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're safe.
Thank you.
I have asked you to go through the news articles that I sent you. So much news. We're trying to catch up. But you have sort of laid out some things that you're like, yeah, you know what? We can talk about this. Let's talk about that. I am going to trump your story real quick, where you wanted to start, and just say that I saw this in my newsfeed today, that BYU Idaho now has a 30-foot wide, 8-foot tall BYU Eye on campus. It was dedicated on the 10th of December, and it is apparently, if you're an Aggie and you go to Utah State and you kiss touching the A, you're a true Aggie. If you blah, 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 it is the most creative, not really, thing that has been on BYU Idaho's campus probably ever. By the pictures that I see, the people are like, art, and it's just letters. They're like, an installment, a thing. It seemed like it was the biggest deal for the people of BYU Idaho. I don't get it. It's just BYU-I, but congratulations, BYU Idaho.
So my son hasn't even mentioned it. I mean, I'm sure, I'll have to text him after this and find out about it, but it sounds like a huge big deal. That's fun.
Well, hopefully, because I think it's metal. I didn't get the idea. Is your son a little dim? Would he have stuck his tongue to the BYU-I and he might be? No, he's smarter than that.
No, not that one. Maybe my other son. But
okay. Hope your other son listens to this so
I
he
could
knows how you feel about
him.
it.
I could ask him to, and he'd do it. He'll pretty much do anything I ask him to do. But
you know what? I actually let's try this just as an experiment. If you're following us on Instagram, it's at the Cultural Hall on Instagram. If she's able to get her son to stick his tongue to the BYU-I, we will post it on our Instagram. So there you
challenge accepted. We'll see how that goes.
Good. All right, and we'll tag him and all the things. Kids love it when you get tagged. So
yes, they do.
Take me to what you would like to talk about first.
All right. First, there was.
Wait. Oh, hold on. I screwed this up because we didn't take a break. We're going to come back in the second half and do actual articles of news. BestDJinUtah.com is the website. That is where you go if you would like me to come and DJ your event. Now, will I do a family reunion where you all wear the same t-shirts? You bet I will. Will I travel to wherever you're at? Am I reasonable as far as what I cost? Yes. Do I bring a good time? Yeah, all the things. Listen, Best DJ in Utah, it's my company. It's a thing I do that allows me to be able to have the time to do the cultural hall. So if someone's getting married, you think, man, they need a great DJ. You're throwing a party, whether it's a 50th or 60th or 40th or 20th or whatever the party is. I've done them all and would love to be able to do that. An anniversary party, certainly done those. I did a baptism in 2023. Yeah, we did a big dance party at a baptism. Spoiler, not a Mormon baptism, but it was fun nonetheless. BestDJinUtah.com is a website. I will get back to you within 24 hours with a quote. Come on now. BestDJinUtah.com.
Imagine running a small business today. It's challenging. Imaging and internet presence is an absolute must. Even with that, you're still a small star in a bright cyber universe. Now, imagine you have someone who understands how to get your site designed for your talents and then easily searched by potential clients. Imagine Lennon Design. Whether it's strictly a website or a whole package of logo creation, advertising media, and promotional materials, Lennon Design is your partner in business. They'll test the boundaries of their imagination to create something unique for you. When you need creative, affordable design, let it be Lennon Design. Call 801-699-3022 or visit LennonDesign.com.
Here in the second half of Articles of News, we do actual articles of news. Hit it, Peter.
You can't lose articles of news.
And away we go.
All right. First, I wanted to talk about the National Day of Service that was in Mexico over the weekend. On December 7th, they designated the Latter-day Saint Church designated December 7th the National Day of Service. And there were congregations of Latter-day Saints all over the country that came together to light the world. Along with the Light the World campaign, they painted schools, they cleaned parks, visited care homes, collected clothing, food for the homeless, you name it, and they did it. It sounds like it was happening all over Mexico. And just such a great opportunity to really get in the spirit of the holidays. And I love it. We're a worldwide church and we're doing these days of service all over the United States. And it's so fun to see it happening elsewhere with our fellow brothers and sisters all over the world. And I just thought, what a great example to us that they made this a huge priority.
I love the idea of lighting the world. The church does its day of service like in September, I want to say, here in the United States. I didn't read anything or find anything that said why. Obviously, we wouldn't be doing the Light the World Christmas campaign in July in Mexico, but there's no sort of indication as to why December 7th for Mexico. Is there any sort of significance, like nothing like that?
No, and nothing significant about it. I guess it just seemed like a good day. I don't know. I don't know why, but I love it. And I hope that it will be an ongoing thing yearly. Will it always be December 7th? Will it always be the first Saturday in December? Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, I get curious about those kind of things because I feel like for the most part, things don't happen on accident,
right.
Especially when you're talking with the church. So it would seem to me that, and I like the idea of being able to light the world in December and having it be associated with service. I just wondered if it was. If someone knows, contact@theculturalhall.com is the email address where you can send something like that. You wanted to talk about immigration as the next story. Boy, we're going to just start nice and light, huh?
Yeah. Well, Richie, I felt like our first articles of news was very light. There wasn't a lot of deep thought into that one, so I thought we'd get a little deeper this time. If that's
you just want to, you feel like you got something to prove to folks. Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. Listen, I'll take it. You're not just a Secret Lives of Mormon Wives face. You got the deep stuff like immigration. Tell me.
That's right.
What about Mormonism and immigration then?
So, it's really interesting. This article talked about how the LDS Church tends to be quite friendly with immigration and illegal immigrants. And this has actually been a conversation in our home a lot with my young adult children, just with the new presidency, what does it look like when they're talking about deportation and what does that mean? And my kids have their own beliefs and their own thoughts, and we all politically see some things the same, some different. We love it. We have very open dialogue. And a lot of what I read in this article was so interesting because let's talk about the Mormons and when they were persecuted and driven west.
Right.
They came to the Utah Territory, which was actually a part of Mexico, right?
Right.
And I thought I loved that parallel in that we could see ourselves as refugees as well. And I think that's a lot of why we tend to be a little more, an ally towards immigrants.
A little more lenient, a little more. If there is a thing that Mormons collectively could be a little bit more liberal or moderate towards, it's definitely immigration more than some of these other hot button things for sure.
Yep, definitely. And when you think about that, we serve missions all over the world. We have young men and women who are encountering people from different walks of life, different races, different ethnicities. And one thing that I have been really touched by as we've been talking about this, so my son recently got home from his mission in Pennsylvania, and about halfway through his mission, he was assigned to speak Haitian Creole. He was an English-speaking missionary. And in fact, Verlin, every time I listen to him, I'm like, I need to somehow connect that he knows Haitian Creole. So does my son. He had to teach himself Haitian Creole midway through his mission. And
oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah. Can you imagine? And he went into his mission not wanting to speak a language. He was grateful to speak English. And I am telling you, though, within 3 or 4 days to hear him speak, I was like, where did this come from? This is amazing. And it's because there's such a large population of immigrants from Haiti. And I'm hearing people all over the place getting called to speak Haitian Creole in Oklahoma, in Ohio, all of these different places. So we have been talking a lot about how half of his mission was him involved with these Haitian people who most probably are not legal. I mean, who knows? You're not asked that when you take the discussions and join the church. But, we have such a compassion for them and them wanting to have a better life here. And I think that there is, it's a hard thing. We talk with our kids about, people who are committing crimes who are here illegally. They probably need to be removed.
Sure.
But people who are here as a family just trying to make a better life for themselves, I'm hoping, I don't know what's going to happen. I just hope that there is a lot of compassion and a lot of thoughtfulness that goes into what is going to transpire from here on out.
One of the most fascinating things that they talk about here, you're in Arizona, and Utah interprets Arizona as everyone in Arizona is diehard one way or another. I'd put them in my truck and drive them back over the border if I could, that kind of thing. Or you tell me where, I'll stand with my gun, we'll get it. Or, the complete opposite, which is everyone's in, it's fine, this is how it is. It is fascinating to note that, like you mentioned, not only do they not ask if you are here legally to join the church, but there are several in leadership, branch presidents, bishops, and stake presidents whom are here illegally.
Right.
And the governor of the state of Utah has recently said, as we roll into a new presidency and there is this idea of mass deportations, he plans to collaborate with the federal government and be able to do that. And so it will be interesting to see. First of all, I think it's interesting that we're like, hey, obey the laws of the land, but also that's fine, called to leadership, whatever, right? Yeah. Look the other way.
Yeah.
But to see when push actually comes to shove out of this country and some of these ward, stakes, branches, districts, etc., don't have leadership, if you'll hear mumblings, grumblings from the church, or if they'll just come out and say, hey, you know what, we think this should be a different way, if they'll leave themselves entirely out of it, how they will engage with that, should something go as hardlined as it sounds like it's going to go.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, and I think that I actually love that our church in general has compassion for the immigrants, and in reading through this article, there's a lot of religious sects that do not have as much compassion,
Yep.
and I do love it that we are thinking about that. There, in Arizona here alone, there are 51 Spanish-speaking congregations. I mean, that's huge, and
Yeah.
I can't guess how many people in those congregations are legal or not. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, I think we need to find ways for immigration and citizenship to become a little easier for people. I think we are a melting pot. The United States is a melting pot of nationalities, and I am all for anyone to come and live in this amazing country. I mean, please come and be an upstanding citizen and all of those things. And I just wish there were easier ways that they could do that. But it's definitely a big hot topic, and it will be really interesting to see how things roll out. And hopefully it's not going to be as widespread as I think people are making it out to be. I think that's going to be a lot more difficult than it seems. I mean, it's very hard. I'm like, let's just focus on the bottom 10% that are breaking the law.
Sure.
They do need to go back to their own country. If that's my opinion anyway.
Yeah.
But,
Well, it should just be crazy to see as that kind of goes. I know that you've got this in a different order. I actually would like to talk about the gentleman whom has been selected by President Trump to be working alongside him. Member of the church, one of a kind, one and only.
Yep, Jamison Greer, I think is his name, right?
That's what I have too.
And so he was nominated to be the U.S. Trade Representative, which is awesome. It's great to hear of Latter-day Saints being put into positions of authority, of leadership and whatnot. Like, it's just, you like having people of your kind, that you can look up to and see. And apparently
sometimes you like having people of your kind when they agree with you and you feel like they're a good representation. When you have someone of your kind that you go, yeah, I don't really like that guy very much. You go, same pew, that guy, me and that guy, the same pews. Are you reading the same book as I'm reading?
Very true. Very true. Well, and it'll be interesting because he will be, at the forefront of America's international trade negotiations. And, we're hearing about the tariffs that Trump is wanting to impose. And he, I think, supports those tariffs. But I don't know. Again, who knows? And who knows if he will be confirmed or not? He'll have to pass the Senate confirmation. He seems to have a great background. He focuses on trade issues in his law firm currently. I don't know much about him otherwise. He did serve in Trump's previous administration as the chief of staff for
Robert Lighthizer, who was the one who was in essentially that position while he was there. Yeah.
He was that role while he was there. And I don't know much about him. I don't know if you know much more about him, but,
I mean, he went to BYU, got his international studies from BYU, law degree from the University of Virginia, and holds a joint master's degree in global business law from prestigious institutions in Paris. So, okay.
Okay.
I think like you think, kind of, to be able to say, hey, look at that guy. He's one of us. Served a mission in Belgium, so has some, overseas experience. He's the only Latter-day Saint, though.
What's interesting is Brussels, Belgium is one of only 3 cities where U.S. trade representatives maintain offices. That's kind of interesting that he has that connection there. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I think we're all just on, the edge of our seats to see what's going to happen with this new administration. And hopefully this brother Greer will be a good representative of us and also help. I mean, I think we all want an economy that's a little bit stronger than it is now. Hopefully there's a way to get things improved, and hopefully he can help with that. And we'll see how it goes.
I like the idea because sometimes you shoehorn in the gospel principle on things. See, guys, he served a mission in Belgium. He probably didn't think anything about it, but the fact that he can speak Belgian?
Is it German?
Belgiese?
Is it
Beetlejuice? Beetlejuice? I don't know. Belgish.
Belgish? I don't
No,
think
I
that's
don't
a
feel
thing.
like that's it. What are you speaking? Anyway, you're going to
think
look
it's
it up while I
German.
finish this
Yeah, I'm
point.
gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up.
Serving a mission and then having this opportunity, I guarantee you part of this opportunity for Brother Greer has come about because he speaks.
Sorry, it is Dutch and
Oh.
French and German.
Okay.
Those are the languages, but
Okay.
mostly Dutch and French.
Okay.
So yeah.
So
that's
there we
true.
go. See?
There we go.
Congratulations, Brother Greer. Congratulations. So then going back to the order of stories, by the way, if you want to find the show notes, you certainly can. Links to all of the stories that we talk about in here. There is an iconic chapel out in Washington, D.C. that has some pretty exciting things going on.
Yeah, this is fascinating to me. I am a big fan of architecture and churches in general. When we travel, we try to find the best churches we can to visit. This chapel in Washington, D.C. was built in 1933. It was obviously before the temple was there in D.C. And in fact, it was the grandson of Brigham Young who built it. And he was the one who built the Mesa Temple. So another connection here to Arizona. Anyhow, this chapel was the only chapel ever that had an angel Moroni on it. So a regular church building chapel, not a temple, but it was one that had angel Moroni on it. It's currently not owned by our church. It's owned by the Unification Church. And there are plans for an upscale apartment building to be built in the area while preserving the chapel itself. The plans, as far as exactly what they're planning to do, aren't exactly clear. It's pretty rough as far as that goes, but there are a couple of members of the LDS Church who have taken it upon themselves to kind of help lead a charge for helping to preserve this building, which I think is fantastic. It has apparently stained glass that depicts, early things from the church, and there's inscriptions on the outside. And I am dying now to go and visit this church. I didn't know it existed, and I'm just super excited to get out there, hopefully before they renovate it. And if they do end up renovating it, I'm really hoping they can preserve the architectural and historical significance of it, because that's really, really cool.
Yeah, making apartments out of it, which is the new thing, right? We take a building. They did this at the church house that is just to the west of Kingsbury Hall here in Salt Lake. So if you went to the University of Utah, where the Institute at one time, I think, it might have just been like the student ward or student steakhouse there. They have completely renovated that, and there is still the stained glass in there. It, for all intents and purposes, looks like a massive LDS church, but now it's apartments and condos that you can rent and be able to attend the school. What I don't know is, why did we sell this building?
I know. Well, so they sold it in, I think the 1970s, I think because of the cost of renovations.
Nope.
And they just didn't.
Unacceptable. Billion-dollar LDS church.
Right. Hindsight. Like, come on, guys. Anyway, so it is a bummer, but it sounds like the Unification Church is willing, they want to, withstand the historical significance of it, and they don't intend to demolish it. I think there's also laws and rules about that when there's a historical building,
Sure.
but it seems like it could be really an interesting and really cool, development there.
I think it might be a kind of a cool side piece of an episode, too. If anyone knows more about this, contact at theculturalhall.com. I would love to know the following, when exactly we sold it and kind of the things around that. I'd love to know where the angel that was on the building went. Do we know where it is?
Yes, I actually do know that.
Okay.
It's in the Church History Museum in Salt Lake.
Okay, all right.
So-
Other interesting thing that you did not point out is that building was made from Utah granite. So they shipped from Utah all the way out to Washington, D.C., the granite to have it be there. That's wild to me. I'm hoping come this next March, since we bought the temple and all the stuff last March, let's buy this building back and have it be something there.
That would be awesome. It's, fascinating.
But you'll go and you'll let us know how it is.
I will.
How about, let's talk about the record enrollment. People going like crazy to church schools.
Yeah. So apparently there's nearly 1 million students currently enrolled in LDS colleges, universities, seminaries, and institutes, which is fantastic. I think, there's this worldwide trend of the idea that young people are abandoning faith in general, that they're kind of leaving. They don't need it, and I think this is really, really awesome to see that, maybe not. Maybe that's not true. Maybe our youth and young adults understand and feel a need to continue in their faith development. Seminary and institute enrollment jumped over 18% last year, which was really incredible, shocking to me, honestly.
I will say, though, that like 4% of that growth is down there in Arizona at the Arizona State so that they can use the parking lot to be able to park and go on campus. So it's not actually like they attend as minimum amount as they can so they can park next to campus and not have to have the expensive school parking pass. But that's something. But still, 14%, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, I won't mention a few of my son's friends maybe are in that
1,000%. Why would you not? Why would you not go minimally to a class, pay $5, and be able to park in a better place where there's always parking available?
Right. And you know what? I actually had never parked there until we went to the BYU ASU game a few weeks ago. And it is a giant parking structure, and it's very, very nicely located to campus.
Yes.
So I really see the reasoning behind it.
Yes.
I'm going to guess, though, that they've probably had some conversions by people coming and parking there and going to Institute.
Yeah. What is this building?
Yeah.
I feel something here. Boom. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Parking.
got it.
There's all sorts of ways to bring people in.
Totally. But I actually have another thought about this increased enrollment, and I'm curious what your thoughts on this are.
Okay.
It's when you go to BYU, Idaho, all of those universities, it doesn't cost nearly as much as another private institution. And I actually have a belief that a lot of people go just because it's inexpensive. And so I want to believe, maybe I'm jaded, maybe I have a bad attitude about it. I want to believe it's because they all want to be going to church, but I think a lot of it too is it's kind of convenient and it's a good education at a really good price. So
yeah, I definitely think like the parking situation, I think that there are some people that just go, can I do this? And will it save me 50% off my higher education? You bet. I think within those 1 million, we haven't yet done this episode, but there is that program that's in Africa that just gets people into school that the church is doing. It's not religious necessarily. All the instructors are members, maybe missionaries and some of those things, but it's just like, hey, let's help you learn to read. Let's help you, those kind of things. To me, I think that there is a certain amount of people that just recognize, hey, this is a way that I could possibly even do this where I wouldn't have the way otherwise. What do I have to do? I have to sit in a class and learn about a Book of Mormon. All right, I can do that if it saves me $40,000 over 4 years. You bet.
Yeah. And let's be honest, the long-term effects of that couldn't be bad, right? I mean, you're doing good things, and maybe it'll encourage them to to be more fully faithful in the faith. I don't know, but I think it's on it. I think it's honestly fantastic. I love it. I love that there's a place where you can be with like-minded people and that they want that, which is great.
Yeah, and hopefully, in the heart of hearts for me, like where the humanitarian effort to help other people, it isn't always necessarily, and then they were baptized a member of the church. Right? Like it can just be like they walked with us for a couple of years. We were able to educate them. They were able to get jobs, and thus their family lived happily and healthier than they would have had they not done it. Like that to me it is worthwhile. Sometimes it's just putting a face to what's a Mormon? Sister Ashton, who was my teacher. That's what a Mormon looks like. She was always so kind. She was willing to stay after, in the class or whatever and be able to help me. Like, I think that there's more to it than just like, A is you're in class, B is you're converted, A to B. That's what we're doing. And I don't think that that's the case.
Yep. I totally agree with you.
So it's up. I like that. I like we're spending our money and people are coming. 1 million seems like a lot. I didn't realize that across all the disciplines and organizations that was that many.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's great.
Yeah. All right. I'll take it.
Yep.
As I look at where you wanted to go next with news stories, I see that we are going to the promotion of marriage in the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Yeah, so in a collaborative effort with the government of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the church has helped to promote marriage. And this was such an interesting article to me because I didn't know this needed to be a thing. I didn't know it was an issue, but apparently in the Congo, it is very expensive to have a legal marriage between the license and, fees and that sort of thing. But even bigger than that is the male has to pay a dowry to the bride's family.
Sure.
And I actually read a further article about this to determine, what does that even look like? It could be thousands of dollars, which is a lot of money for anyone. But
sure.
In the, DR Congo, that's a lot of money. And in 2021, a law was proposed to actually limit the amount that the grooms can ask for in a dowry. And I don't think it actually passed at the time, but this has definitely been something that's been looked at, and religious leaders and government officials have definitely come together to understand that there is a need for affordable legal marriages.
Yeah.
And so as part of that initiative, 72 couples, including members of the church, were married in a civil ceremony where it didn't cost them much of anything. So I love it. I love anything that's going to promote being able to have a legal marriage, grow families, any of that is just fantastic. And I just thought this was really interesting. And I'm really proud of us as a church that we helped them to see that the need for these legal marriages and for people to be able to attain those.
Another fantastic sort of example of just life-changing that isn't and then we hope that 1 year from today that you'll take this, or, now it's not even a year that you have to wait to go to the temple to get it sealed, but just to be we a heavy-handed message about sealing it in the temple. We're just no, listen, the fundamental of just being married and partnered with this person is what we are after. We believe in it, and making that, if that's what people choose to do, more affordable. I love, and you have to search this out in the show notes, the picture of this room full of people about to be married. In my heart, I think that a large majority of them probably are members of the church. And on the front row in that picture, there is that quintessential young Mormon couple that you look at and go, are you guys even old enough to get married? When did you meet each other? Did you just graduate from high school? Are you still in high school? Is that what this is? So worth clicking through to the show notes to check that out.
Yep. Anyway, just really, really good progress in that country. And side note, that is kind of my dream place that I would like to serve a mission with my husband someday. So yeah.
You could do it now.
Yeah, maybe not quite. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. No, let me think. You still have kids at home, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How old is your one at home?
14. So,
okay. So
maybe
4
in 4 or 5 years.
You literally, all it has to be is 4 years, because you have to be 40. Oh, that's a problem. You got 20 years on the 40 thing.
Yes, definitely.
You're welcome. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
But then, and then just be able to put life on pause for a minute and go do it.
Yep. We hope to do it as quickly as we can. So we'll see. My husband speaks French fluently, and that's the language there. So.
Oh, done. Are you learning French?
I'm trying, but I'm not so good at it. But I'm trying on my Duolingo.
Yeah. Are you really trying that hard? Let's be honest.
Not very hard. No. I've learned 3 words, but.
So do we want to do this, or do we just say that we want to do this?
I want to. I don't think that languages are something I'm super. It's just not my strong suit, I guess. So I feel like I'm going to need the call to then have the Spirit with me a little more to help me have the gift of tongues.
Yeah,
that's my excuse.
Well, let me chasten you this way. Your son didn't want to serve a mission speaking a language, and he learned on his own an entirely different language. So stop making excuses.
I know. You're right. Nope, you're exactly right. I'm going to learn a few more words by the next time I talk to you.
Yeah, at least do me this solid. Learn an insult that you can throw back at me when I'm so aggressive like I just was just then.
I will.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
I'm going to learn a couple insults. I'm going to need them in my back pocket.
I already know the swear words, but I can't say those, so I've got to do some other ones. Everyone always learns the swear words first.
Of course.
I'll take this next story because I love it. The first ever pair of headphones. What? What does this have to do with Mormonism? Well, they were invented by Nathaniel Baldwin. He built them from scratch in 1910. He was a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They had everything that you'd expect right from the very beginning. A headband, 2 ear cups, featuring 1 speaker each. No need for outside support. A 1915 model, feels like it could have easily popped up in the 1970s just because of how it looked. Here is why he invented it. He was frustrated that he couldn't hear the sermons at church. So he said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to invent headphones. So thank you, Brother Baldwin, for inventing what we now know as headphones.
Yeah, it's remarkable. I mean, who knew that it was a member of the LDS Church who invented headphones? I mean, I can't wait to share that with my kids. I mean, you know, the kids today, they all have their AirPods and all their headphones and it was a good old Mormon boy who couldn't hear his sermons, so he invented them. I love it so much.
That's one of those things that you can, where you're sitting around and you don't know what to talk about next with people. Yes. And you can kind of lean back and go, and people are like, what do I know? You know, the headphones invented by a Mormon, and they go, huh.
What?
Well, you don't say. And then it goes back to being awkward, but at least you tried to throw something in. At least you tried. All right, take me to the next story.
Well, you know, we were just going to talk a little bit more about members of the church that are kind of vying for spots in the Trump administration. Mm-hmm. And there's a long list. I mean, you've got Senator Mike Lee from Utah, and I don't know much about him. I think he's pretty divisive from what I understand. Anyway, there's quite a list of 4 or 5 people that are up for possible positions. Some that, in fact, I think Senator Mike Lee was rumored for Attorney General. That didn't work out.
Attorney General. He's trying to be a Supreme Court justice. I'll do whatever. Just put me in. I just want to be liked. I'll say whatever. Are you Captain Moroni? I'll do whatever you'd like me to do. I'll take whatever position it is. Just let me. I'm Mike Lee.
Yeah. Seems a little shady, if you ask me.
Well, listen, people like him. I do not care for. I guess I should say. Okay. That will be the gentle and it's around Christmas way of me expressing my feelings towards Mike Lee. I get it if you like him. I get it. I don't care for him.
Yeah. We all can have our opinions. I don't know enough to have any kind of opinion. So
well, you should go blindly into an opinion and then feel really passionately about it. That's what I like when people do that.
Yeah, that's a really good move.
Yeah, sure. Not founded at all, but then just defend.
Just go for it.
To the end, yep.
That's right.
Yep.
We've got Robert O'Brien. He served as Trump's national security advisor from 2019 until the end of his term. He was rumored as possible Secretary of State before Senator Marco Rubio got it. He's still in the running. He said he's actually satisfied in his role as private sector, but he might consider something if it came his way. Sure. You've got Carson Jorgensen. He was the former Utah Republican Party chair and gubernatorial candidate. He's lobbying to be the agricultural advisor. Lane Bangerter, who was an official in the agriculture department, he's open and willing to serve again. So there's quite a list of members that we could see joining Brother Greer in that administration, and we'll have to see how that goes. But
only Greer up to this point, as I understand it.
Yeah, Greer's been the only one officially offered, not confirmed yet.
I'll take the next one. Book of Mormon stories that have pictures I can read. Came out from the Church of Jesus Christ on November 27th. It's a new updated edition. This is exactly what you remember. We had one of these growing up that we had on the shelf when we did like Family Home Evening the once or twice while I was growing up. We would sometimes bring out the illustrated edition of Book of Mormon stories when I was serving my mission for people that had a really, I would never say learning disability, but just maybe like they got into the context of the regular Book of Mormon and were just like, I don't understand. We would get illustrated copies of the Book of Mormon to kind of get them familiar with what's going on. It's been updated, new pictures, beautiful artwork, improved text. It's not just for kids. It is in 62 different languages. It can be purchased for $5.25, a great stocking stuffer at any distribution center, or you can buy it online at store.churchofjesuschrist.org. Quote, as families read the experiences of people who love Jesus Christ and kept his commandments, children will feel the Savior's love for them, and they will see the blessings that come to God's children who make and keep sacred covenants. I like some of the imagery being chosen for this project, for the new project, because it feels a little less like Native American cultural appropriation, that sort of uncomfortable waters that we tread in. It seems like it has been adjusted, so you go, oh, okay, people, got it.
Yeah, I love it. I think I like to learn sometimes with the simple stories. I teach primary, and I love being able to simplify the stories in the Book of Mormon. And like you said, it's not just for kids; it's for adults too. I think it's really fun to be able to look at these beautiful pictures and to really see the stories come to life. And I'm excited for it. Yeah, I still have my old one from 40 years ago when I was a kid. So I'm excited to get another. I will not get rid of the old one. That could be a priceless relic someday. But I'm excited to see the new one.
Now, I'm going to throw a wrench in the order that you said. Let's skip to Mormon Wives real quick, because I know that you care. And I want to make sure that we leave some time in this, because I, as the phrase is correctly said, I could not care less.
Oh, maybe one day you'll start to care, but it's fine. It's fine. If you
what is the latest in Secret Wives of Mormon wivesdom? So
definitely some big stuff going on. One of the swingers from Taylor Frankie Paul, when she got her mom talk sex scandal, whatever, one of the women involved in that had never come out. Her name is McKenna Gibbons. And she recently outed herself publicly on TikTok to share her experience of being there. She said that she was ashamed at her participation. It caused the divorce of she and her ex-husband. She, was making some claims, whatever. Taylor.
She's one of the ones on the show, though, right?
No.
McKenna's not one of the ones on the show.
No.
Okay.
Michaela is on the show.
Okay, maybe that's...
Might have been thinking of her.
Yeah.
But no, unless she's the new one coming on season 2, I kind of don't think so. It kind of seems like she came out of the woodwork, and maybe she's trying to capitalize on the Mormon Wives and the mom talk. And she's like, wait, hey, I can have my 5 minutes or 5 seconds of fame, So who knows? Sure. I'm not sure. Anyhow, Taylor hopped on the TikTok and social media and shared some footage of the two of them kissing. So this girl, McKenna, and Taylor kissing, and also posted some pictures of she and McKenna's ex-husband all together, and text messages. And basically Taylor is like throwing it all out. She's like, you don't get to just come on here and say that you're ashamed of this and claim that you're sorry and throw me under the bus. Like, here's all of this that you were very much involved in. So, that's drama. Taylor Frankie Paul, there's going to always be drama following her, because not long after that, she had a falling out with Jesse and Demi and Michaela from the Mormon Wives, because she made an appearance on the Country Music Awards in Nashville, and she was angry that none of them supported her on social media. And it was the biggest day of her life, pretty much, and they didn't make a big deal about it on their social media. Yep. Well, they clapped back, is what the article says, and they posted screenshots of where they did actually post to her and sent private texts and Instagram stories congratulating her for this moment. So it just feels like, really, why do we have to just come up with something to cause drama about? You can't just live your normal life. But the drama snowballed. They're all arguing back and forth on social media. And right now, Taylor is saying she is no longer friends with any of them.
Oh, I am not friends with any of you anymore.
I know. And I imagine we're going to see all of this play out once this airs in January, February. But very different than the meeting I had with Taylor Frankie Paul in the Phoenix airport a few weeks ago. They were just all friends and happy as can be. But I guess if you ignore one of them on social media, then things are going to go down. And it seems like we're just going to have the constant drama mess with them.
Spoiler alert. They aren't your friends. Sorry.
I know.
Sorry.
I do know that.
Sorry.
I mean, truthfully, I wouldn't want to be living that life anyway. So
It
I'll just
sounds
pretend.
Exhausting.
Yes. Yes. It's like I was watching The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City the other
Of
night, which
course,
I'm also
yes.
a big fan of.
Uh-huh.
And my daughter walks in and she's like, I feel like every time I walk in, they're just arguing. I'm
Yep.
like, yeah, it's kind of true. You've got these grown 40-year-old something women and they're just fighting at the dinner table every
Yep.
single episode.
Yep.
I don't get it.
Yep.
Makes
Because
no
they're not your. I'm just joking. Well, good. Yeah. Okay. Any other things? I saw that Taylor Frankie Paul cropped her baby daddy out of a photo. That's the. There's
Yes.
some of it I just. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there was room. No one knew if they were still together or not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's kind of a big sign that they're probably not together. Maybe it's just they're not together this week.
Sure.
You never can tell really with them. You know what I mean?
I need to teach Taylor Frankie Paul. You don't have to crop anymore. If you have a new cell phone, you just circle it, and then AI can create the backdrop there. You don't even have to crop it anymore. So
That is so true. Yeah. Why don't you should send her a message and help? help her with that.
yeah, that would go well. Hey, my wife looks at my phone. Question. So you sent this message. That would be how that conversation would go.
Yeah.
Spoiler, there's one piece of news that you don't know about this that I have only alluded to. The most popular episode of 2024 for the Cultural Hall is where Verlin and I go through the episodes of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. It was listened to about 350% times more than any other episode of the Cultural Hall.
Okay, that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
That makes me laugh so hard. I mean, I think maybe the draw is that you're two middle-aged
Careful,
men. Can I say
careful.
that? Young men, two young men.
Thank you.
Who stayed up all night to watch it. And you recorded it like in the middle of the night, didn't you?
Yes,
I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah. That's hilarious. I love it.
Yeah, so look forward to dudes talking about Secret Lives of Mormon Wives Season 2. If we can get that kind of download action again.
Yeah.
If you don't want that to happen, you can donate patreon.com/The Cultural Hall. If that is not something you'd like, that'll be the only way that I won't do something like that based on the numbers that we got.
I love it.
Before we go, I know you had one more story. It's a little whatever. We'll do that another time. I got to ask you, so church the Sunday before Christmas, the church earlier this year, that is the Brethren, that is the Salt Lake City church, when I say it this way, they said, hey, stake presidents, bishops, etc., you guys get the option to do 1 hour church the Sunday before Christmas or the Sunday after Christmas. That's probably more pertinent when Christmas is a Sunday or Christmas Eve is a Sunday, because people go, oh, we should make this a little bit shorter. This year, I think it's the 22nd, I want to say, that is a Sunday. And that is when my ward is opting to do the 1 hour church. Do you go, or do you do the, well, it's Christmas, we got a lot going on, we're going to kind of pick this up another way? Or are you like, nah, this Christmas means going to church right around Christmas and doing the stories and all the things?
I mean, I actually love Christmas Sunday. It's typically there's a lot of musical numbers. And I will say we've been guilted into being in our ward choir because our ward does not have a very big choir.
Sure.
And for a while, my husband was the only man participating. So I made my 16-year-old come. So we are singing in the ward choir that day. We're doing the entire program. I love going to Christmas Sunday and only having to be there for that hour and then being able to go home. Like I don't have to teach a lesson today. I can just go and enjoy it and soak it in and then go home and hang out with my family. So I am actually really looking forward to it. What about you?
So I was actually supposed to teach on that Sunday, and then they found out about it and they were like, do you want us to just bump the schedule? And I was like, nope, that's not how this works. My Christmas gift was that I don't have to teach. So I like it. I have talked about this before. I think it was last year, maybe the year before, where Christmas was the actual Sunday or Christmas Eve was the actual Sunday. And my steak, we did the 1 hour, everyone at the same time, let's go all together. And I think it was Christmas Eve or Christmas. And the person who spoke was so educated and so like spiritually connected to what he was talking about, and so dry that my wife looked over at me and said, "This is what we're doing. This is the because my wife not a member of the church, and yeah, I get that we're not there to perform and be like, hey, church is always a performance. Come to the Mormons. Like it's not that, but." A little bit ago, I went to the stake president who frequents our ward. I'm actually surprised how often I see him. And I said, I don't want to be in charge of this, but please, if we are going to do stake special Christmas church, get the person that's a public speaker. Yes. Get the trio that performs over Christmas and does it as a paid side gig. Let's get those people. Let's put best Mormon foot forward so that people... come in and go, oh, we like this very much. So we'll see. Absolutely. Yeah.
I totally agree with you. Yep. Now, will your wife go with you on this one, even though it's not?
Oh, yeah. Yep. The joke in our house is, so she was raised Catholic, so I make her come with me on Christmas and Easter.
Nice.
Love it. Every Catholic would. So
of course. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. Should be a good time. I'm grateful that I don't have to teach the lesson that day, so that should be great.
Yeah, it's a great Sunday. Best Sunday of the year, not having to teach.
I appreciate you coming on and doing news. I hope that this episode nourishes and strengthens your body.
And if you weren't well enough to attend this week, you'll be well enough to attend next week.
And that when the time comes, you will be able to travel home in safety. In the meantime, Chris at Alpine Lakes Travel, Rick McGee, Debbie Wanless, Chocolate Cake Bites Podcast, and the Tiger with a U will be saving a seat for you
on the back row
of the Cultural
Hall.
Save me a seat, it's sure to be neat on the back row. We really gotta go on the Cultural Hall show.